They made their name arguing, yelling, and flipping deals on camera, but the real chaos didn't happen in the pawn shop. It happened after the show ended. 15 years after Hardcore Pawn first exploded onto TV, the Gold family's story looks very different. A $500,000 scam, a daughter who walked away from the business, allegations of staged drama, and one former cast member now earning nearly $900,000 a year on OnlyFans. What really happened when the cameras stopped rolling? Were the fights real? Did the family fall apart behind the scenes? And where are they now? Let's uncover the truth. Hardcore Pawn. The rise before the fall. In 1998, television producer Richard Dominic was watching the Jerry Springer Show when a local Detroit commercial caught his attention. The ad featured a pawn shop owner named Les Gold. He had a sharp voice, a commanding presence, and the kind of personality that lingered long after the screen went dark. Dominic didn't act on it immediately, but he never forgot the name. More than a decade later, that brief moment turned into a full-fledged television project. In 2009, truTV approved the concept, and on August 16, 2010, Hardcore Pawn premiered. The debut drew nearly 2 million viewers, making it the most-watched series launch in the network's history. The show centered on American Jewelry and Loan, the Gold family's pawn shop in Detroit. Originally opened in 1978 at the Green 8 Shopping Center, the business relocated in 1993 to a massive 50,000-square-foot space on 8 Mile Road. By the time the cameras arrived, the store was already a local institution, with roughly 1,000 customers walking through its doors each day. Unlike other pawn-based reality shows that focused on rare collectibles and calm negotiations, Hardcore Pawn leaned into confrontation. The cameras captured heated arguments, emotional breakdowns, security stepping in, and customers being escorted out. The tension felt raw and unpredictable. Les Gold insisted the show reflected reality, a glimpse into the pawn business in a city where financial hardship often ran high and emotions ran even higher. The formula worked. By mid-2013, the show averaged more than 3 million viewers per episode. The season 6 finale drew 3.4 million viewers, becoming the largest audience in truTV's history at the time. It also ranked as the #1 unscripted cable show in its Tuesday night time slot. But momentum doesn't last forever. By 2014, ratings began to slip. Viewers started questioning how authentic the chaos really was. Some scenes felt overly dramatic, even staged. Media critics openly challenged the show's credibility. The Gold family denied any fakery, maintaining that what aired reflected real-life interactions inside the shop. Still, skepticism lingered. Around the same time, longtime staff member Rich Pyle left the series to host Meltdown on National Geographic. His departure fueled speculation that the show's foundation was shifting. Behind the scenes, bigger changes were underway. In May 2013, Chris Lynn became president of truTV and pushed for a new direction. He believed the network had leaned too heavily into conflict-driven programming. By April 2014, plans for a major rebrand were announced. Comedy, not confrontation, would define the channel's future. Shows like Impractical Jokers became the blueprint. By October, truTV launched its Way More Fun campaign, temporarily branding itself as the new truTV. In that new vision, intense reality dramas like Hardcore Pawn no longer fit. Life after Hardcore Pawn, Les Gold. When Hardcore Pawn ended, the cast members went their separate ways, but Les Gold didn't slow down. By 2021, while many businesses were still recovering from the pandemic, Les was expanding. He opened 3 new pawn shop locations in Southgate, Lincoln Park, and Hazel Park. The move wasn't impulsive. As early as 2019, he had made it clear he wanted to grow beyond the flagship 8 Mile Road store. When commercial real estate prices dropped, he saw opportunity. Les personally handled the toughest negotiations, closing deals face-to-face. Alongside his son Seth, he leveraged the family's TV recognition to secure strong lease terms. Developers wanted traffic. The Gold name delivered it. The new locations followed the same high-volume, negotiation-driven model as the original 50,000-square-foot Detroit store, and together they created nearly 200 jobs across Wayne County. But business wasn't his only move. In 2016, Les surprised viewers by appearing on Chopped. Few expected a pawnbroker to step into a competitive kitchen, but cooking was something he had learned as a child while his parents worked long hours. Guided by family recipes and Mediterranean traditions, he approached the show the same way he approached business: calm, strategic, decisive. He didn't win, but he revealed a side of himself audiences hadn't seen before. In December 2022, Les returned to the spotlight for a different reason. Hosting a charity auction called Hardcore Thaw inside his Detroit store, he raised $40,000 in just 3 hours for Michigan's Heat and Warmth Fund. Using his signature fast-paced auction style, he energized the room, and when the total fell short of the goal, he quietly contributed the remaining $5,000 himself. Not every chapter was smooth. In 2018, reports surfaced that Les had lost $500,000 in a scam. Rumors swirled, including whispers of financial trouble. But by 2025, his net worth remained steady at around $5 million. The stores stayed open, and his book, For What It's Worth, even reached number 4 on the New York Times bestseller list. Seth Gold. Meanwhile, Seth Gold had quietly reshaped the family business from within. When he joined full-time in 2009, he recognized a glaring gap. There was no online presence. While most pawn shops relied entirely on walk-in customers, Seth launched an e-commerce platform. It was a gamble, but it worked. By 2018, online sales accounted for 10% of total revenue. Unlike the physical store, the website never closed. That digital growth fueled expansion into new locations and helped push annual growth toward 20%. Revenues climbed into the $5 to $10 million range, a significant leap for a Detroit-based pawn operation. Seth Gold didn't stop at building the company's online presence. In July 2013, he was named National Pawnbroker of the Year at the Pawn Expo in Las Vegas, the industry's highest honor. The recognition wasn't just about profits. Seth had worked to modernize the pawn business, improve its public image, and strengthen community outreach. The moment was especially meaningful because he earned the award over his father, Les Gold, a longtime legend in the field, signaling that Seth represented the industry's next generation. In 2014, Seth expanded his impact beyond business. Partnering with Stephen Kogler, he launched Power to the Grid, a job program designed to employ individuals with autism based on their specific strengths. One early hire, Michael Sancho, used his photography and design skills to enhance the company's online listings, helping boost digital sales. Seth also adapted to changing trends. As silver and diamonds began outselling gold, he shifted focus to meet demand. In 2019, he introduced Fast Pawn with PawnMate Incorporated, allowing customers to renew loans and make payments online, bringing added convenience to a traditionally in-person industry. Rich Pyle. Rich Pyle spent 25 years at American Jewelry and Loan, rising from a young employee to one of the most recognizable faces on hardcore pawn. With his spiked hair, long goatee, and bold personality, he became a fan favorite by 2012. But that same year, his time at the shop came to an abrupt end. What appeared on television as a heated argument was actually the fallout from a much larger issue. An internal audit reportedly raised concerns that Rich had used company credit cards for personal expenses and possibly inflated reimbursements. Les Gold confronted him on camera, and the exchange quickly escalated. Rich argued that his decades of loyalty should outweigh any mistake. He even suggested he cared more about the business than Les's own children, Seth and Ashley, a comment that only deepened the divide. Les made his decision in that moment. Rich was told to leave, ending a 25-year friendship in a matter of minutes. The next morning, Rich returned hoping for another chance. Seth attempted to mediate, pointing out Rich's experience and connection with customers. But Les stood firm, citing the audit and the risk to the business. Within 20 minutes, the meeting was over. Rich was officially out, both from the shop and soon from the show. After leaving Detroit, Rich moved to Los Angeles and briefly attempted to launch his own gold business, though it didn't last. In 2018, he resurfaced in an unexpected role as host of Whole Nation, a series following the American Cornhole organization. Bringing the same high-energy style he once displayed in the pawn shop, Rich found a new stage, with his wife Tracy helping produce the show behind the scenes. Ashley Gold. Ashley Gold was there from the very beginning of Hardcore Pawn. When the show premiered in August 2010, she worked alongside her father Les and her brother Seth inside the massive American jewelry and loan store on Detroit's 8 Mile Road. For 9 seasons and 162 episodes, viewers watched her negotiate deals and argue through the chaos that defined the shop. But behind the fast-paced TV drama, Ashley was burning out. By 2015, she felt stuck in a routine that no longer made her happy. In later interviews, she described waking up each day to the same schedule, the same outfit, the same conflicts. The constant tension, especially between her and her father, wasn't just for the cameras. With Seth pushing modernization, Les holding on to tradition, and producers encouraging confrontation, Ashley often found herself caught in the middle. Over time, the stress took a toll on her health and personal life. Early in 2015, she made the difficult decision to walk away from both the show and the family business. It wasn't easy. This was her last name on the building. But she wanted an identity beyond being Les Gold's daughter. That same year, she launched her own venture, Pawn Chick Shopping, an online jewelry brand featuring pieces she personally selected. She traveled to source new styles, building a collection that ranged from affordable fashion items to higher-end jewelry. By 2019, she rebranded the business as ashleygold.com and even won the Detroit Garment Group's Verge Pitch competition. Her media appearances, from CNN to Good Morning America, helped transform her TV recognition into a legitimate fashion brand. She also began speaking more openly about her experience on Hardcore Pawn. While careful with specifics, she acknowledged what many suspected. Producers often pushed for heightened drama. Conflict made good television, but it made real life harder. When the pandemic hit in 2020, Ashley's priorities shifted again. With 2 teenagers at home, she focused more on family while continuing to run her business. Gone were the 70-hour weeks and constant filming. Instead, her days centered on schoolwork, parenting, and building a life on her own terms. Janiac. Bobby Janiac never set out to become a reality TV figure, he just needed a job. When Seth Gold hired him during the first season of Hardcore Pawn, Bobby was brought in to handle basic merchandise, mostly T-shirts. He had no idea cameras were about to turn the pawn shop into a national TV hit. From day one, he found himself working in front of lights instead of just behind a counter. As filming intensified, so did his screen time. What began as background work quickly turned into regular appearances. When Rich Pyle left the show, Bobby naturally stepped into a larger role. Producers asked if he wanted more airtime. He agreed, and his path shifted overnight. He stayed with American Jewelry and Loan until 2016, even after the show ended in 2015. But once he left, he didn't return. Over time, Bobby began speaking openly about the reality behind reality TV. He said the shop was real, but the drama was often amplified. Producers pushed for conflict, bold reactions, and bigger personalities. According to Bobby, supporting cast members weren't compensated equally, despite helping drive millions of viewers. Contracts emphasized exposure more than fair pay, and the pressure to stay in character off-camera became exhausting. After leaving the pawn world, Bobby reinvented himself. In 2017, automotive brand Bars Products hired him as a spokesperson in a deal reportedly worth $175,000 a year, more than double his pawnshop income. He appeared in dozens of commercials and helped expand the brand into over 40,000 stores nationwide. Then came an unexpected pivot. In 2021, after struggling with inconsistent voiceover work, Bobby launched an OnlyFans account featuring explicit content. The move drew backlash from longtime fans, but financially it worked. Within months, he had thousands of subscribers paying monthly fees. Bobby described it as a business decision, one that offered both control and steady income. In 2023, however, legal trouble surfaced. Warner Brothers Discovery sent him a cease and desist letter, accusing him of using hardcore pawn footage and branding without permission. After being ordered to remove the content, Bobby wiped all references to the show from his platforms. Big Joe. In March 2012, a major shakeup hit American Jewelry and Loan. Joel Big Joe Shannon, the shop's head of security for 3 years, was caught stealing on hidden cameras during filming. Les Gold had trusted him deeply, even welcoming him into family events, which made the betrayal even more painful. Shannon was arrested in front of Les and fired immediately, later facing felony theft charges. It became one of the most shocking moments tied to the show. But Big Joe didn't vanish after the scandal. In 2016, he started over, launching High Gear Transportation in Livonia, Michigan. What began with just 2 trucks handling local deliveries gradually expanded. By 2023, the company operated a fleet of 15 trucks serving clients across the Midwest and employed more than 20 people. In a surprising twist, by 2019, Seth Gold began hiring High Gear for store transfers, a sign that, while trust wasn't instantly restored, some level of professional reconciliation had occurred. Behind the on-screen drama were real careers, real consequences, and lives that shifted long after the cameras stopped rolling.